Goodbye, Dada. Have fun.
Bye, baby boy. I love you. Today I want to talk a little bit about something that I don't think gets talked about enough, and in professional sports in general. And that's what it costs. Not physically, not financially, but really what it costs those around you. What really stands out is what gets given back to you. I'm Australian, I play hockey, and I grew up in Australia. I was given the opportunity by my parents to come overseas when I was about 12 and pursue my dream of playing professional hockey. That's been my whole identity, really. Maybe up until I got married, but even still then, I'm a hockey player. And that was up until my son was born, my son Jet. That's when everything changed. Well, my love for the game, that didn't go anywhere. The reason I lace up my boots, the reason I get up in the morning when I'm tired or I'm sore, that changed. To try and give you a little realistic view of the life, it's not always glamorous. It can be at times, but there are challenges. There are, your body goes through it. You play a lot of games. You're up early, you're up late. Sometimes you don't have much time to rest. You play through injury, and you do that because you don't want to let the guy next to you down. That's something that I guess not everyone can probably relate to. But along with that, you're on a, as much as it's a brotherhood, just had a piece of hair in my mouth, you might not see that guy next week. Like I said in another video, you're on week-to-week paychecks. Guys get traded, guys get cut, guys get, injured, whatever it is. So it can be tumultuous, and that's just the life, yeah. And so along with the 50 games, whatever it is, me personally, I could have done more last season. I will try to do my best next season to be a bit more intentional. Add some things in my routine, maybe like a massage a week or something. Go to the chiropractor a few more times, because you need your body. And now that I'm a bit older and I'm a father, and I have to perform not only on the ice but also as a father and as a husband, and be the best version of myself. So I have to take care of myself physically for many different reasons now. So you have all those things, playing through injury, tumultuous environment at times. Those all are difficult, but that's not what really challenged me mentally. The hard part was saying goodbye. So about my wife, she is the best to ever do it. She's the GOAT. And just to give you guys a little bit of a insight on what our day-to-day looks like. So typically we'd wake up, first she would wake up with the babies 6:30, 7-ish, and let me sleep in till about 7:30. So I get a few extra minutes, which is really nice after she'd already been up with the baby throughout the night. So she lets me sleep to try and help me maximize my rest and recovery. And then I get up, I make breakfast. I do, there's the sauna turning off. I do what I need to do, and she hangs out with the baby, tries to make herself breakfast, and, a lot of responsibility. And then she also has to go, along with that, she has to plan. She also works part-time. So she has to plan when she's going to do a little bit of work, when she's going to, prepare some food for herself, whatever it might be. Evangeline told me many times, she wants me to be happy. And thought about it, and I'm happy playing hockey, and I want to make sure she's happy. And she reiterates to me that she's happy that I'm happy, which makes sense. But she also understands that I'm more of myself in the house as a father and as a husband when I'm happy. So she really wants me to do what makes me happy, and that is to play hockey. And she supports me in that more than I would probably support anyone in her position. And even though there's been plenty of times where she's been tired, exhausted, upset, she's never once made me feel guilty for chasing the dream, even at a minor pro level. And for that, I'm very grateful. So this season, for example, I'll give a little day-to-day if I were to go on a road trip in the morning. So my wife and baby would wake up same time. The baby's the best alarm clock. 6:30, maybe 7. And same thing, she'd make her breakfast, she'd take care of the baby, feed the baby, whatever. And then when it's time for naps, she found that he wouldn't sleep very well or very long on his own, especially when I was gone, which of course that's the way it works. So the best way for him to sleep was on her chest. And so she would lie there until the baby woke up. And obviously you're not getting any housework done, you're not getting any work done really when that's happening. And then she would rinse and repeat for lunch and dinner. In the middle of all this, there was a period where my wife would have to take our baby Jet, 6-7-month-old baby, to a specialist about 9-hour drive away, 10-hour drive. So she would fly with the baby, usually 2 flights to get there to see a specialist for his club foot. And that was happening once a week, and it happened, I think, 5 times. So you can imagine, 3-4 days. It wasn't just there for an appointment right back. She would have to stay for a day or 2 or 3. You can imagine that was a lot of work. And it would often hit me when I'm sitting there in the hotel room, rested and fed. I just have a big, heavy sense of guilt that I was there and she was who knows where with the baby. And there was one time Jet was going to have his last appointment. And we were getting towards the end of the season, maybe not the end, but, 2/3 of the way through. And my wife called me because I was on the road at this point. She said, "Hey, this appointment in a few weeks, would you consider coming with me?" And usually it would have been no problem. The team in the past had let me miss a few days here and there for practice to go along with her to an appointment once in a while. Well, this time it would have directly impacted me being able to play a game. So I would have missed a game. My knee-jerk reaction was I didn't know what to do. I needed to be there for her. She needed me, but I couldn't. The thought of asking to miss a game and leave the boys out there with it, was hard. So when it came down to it, my mom got involved and she told me, "Hey, Tyrone, you have to go." I already deep down knew that, but someone else telling me I think it was just like, okay, we're making this work. And my wife would never have asked me if she didn't really need me there. And so I said, all right, and sat down with them and gave them the situation. And I asked, would I be able to miss this game to go to the appointment? And, I was terrified. I was dreading that meeting, but the team said, families first. And so that made my decision obviously much easier. I'd also brought it up with my teammates in a team meeting, and I let them know. I apologized, look guys, I have to miss a game. And everyone in unison, just don't worry, we got you. We're gonna win this game. Don't worry about it. You got to do what you got to do. And so I will never forget how the team handled that situation and how much respect I felt during that time. Also, another thing was I did go on one, I think, trip to an appointment with my wife and Jet. Either the day of the appointment or the day after on my way back, nearly the whole team reached out offered their, hey, just, thinking about you, hope everything's going well. And that's just class, and that's something a lot of people outside of hockey might not ever experience, is that brotherhood and that support. I wouldn't have been able to do without them. And so those days when I come back from a road trip, walk in the door, drop my bags, everything that was hockey, good, bad, frustrating, my aches and pains, being tired, it just literally hits a barrier at the door and just leaves me. And I walk in the door, drop my bag, and hug my wife. And usually the baby's asleep when I get home, of course. So I wait for him to get up. But once he gets up, he gives me the biggest smile when I walk through the door. And it's just, everything's better. Everything, and it's all worth it. And not that it's all bad, but the good and the, it's just, it just feels right. And that feeling, I'm so grateful for. And before I had a family, I didn't know what that was like. And So you'd think that having a family might add stress, which at times it does. But for me personally, I've noticed it's taken away a ton. Everything just gets checked at the door. When I come home, it's my family. That's what's most important. And that's helped me as a hockey player. As a human, as a hockey player, hockey's a big part of my life, but the most important thing is my family. And hockey's not on the back burner. It's just family comes first. And the same love I have for hockey's that I had 10 years ago is still the same I have today. I just have a whole new compartment of focus and responsibility and love that I didn't have before, and that's my family. There are obviously times where it gets a little bit heated in the house. Just, baby's not sleeping, everyone's tired. Especially during the season, my wife was the one always with the baby while she was working, which is incredible. But if she was, fed up and at her max, at the most she could handle, she would just walk over to me with a straight face, and I knew exactly what was going to happen. She'd be holding the baby, hand me the baby, I'd take the baby, and she'd look at me for a second, turn away, walk into the bedroom, close the door. That's her way of shouting for help and just saying, I need you to take the baby right now. And that's the least I can do, of course. So recently someone asked me what I would tell a younger person in, wanting to chase the dream and eventually have a family, or just someone who wants to know something I wish I knew. And something I was never told, but now I'm here, makes a lot of sense. It's that your love for the game doesn't change. It's your motivation that changes, the why. Before Jet, I played hockey because I loved hockey and I wanted to prove myself. That was my motivation, that was my why. And now my why is my boy, little Jet. And so now I play for him. And now I strive for excellence for him. Because how can I expect Jet one day to achieve excellence and near perfection if I don't strive for that myself? And so it's that question, how can I expect him to have excellence if I don't? That gets me out of bed in the morning when I'm tired. It gets me, through a long bus trip. It gets me maybe even through a third period that I'm fighting through, I'm battling through a tough game, whatever it is. That's what gets me through. I didn't know that I needed something more important in my life. I didn't know that I needed to come home and to leave hockey at the door. It doesn't mean I don't love hockey. It just means that I'm able to compartmentalize important parts of my life. And so that doesn't mean that I definitely haven't done everything perfectly, and there's plenty of things I'd redo. I'd take care of my body better. Another thing I'd actually do is I'd plan ahead. I'd look at the schedule for the season, and I'd plan ahead family coming to stay with my wife when I was out of town to help with the baby and those sort of things, because there's always, making her life easier is my number one goal. It also makes my life easier. This life expects a lot out of you. It takes a lot out of you, but it, arguably takes more out of those close to you. And it's a blessing and it's a curse. And it's something that, we've had to work on really solidifying our relationship. And it's been a journey, but we love it and we're excited to do it again next season. So that leaves me with this. I'm Tyrone. I have the best wife that's ever graced this planet. I have an amazing baby boy who smiles at me every time I come through the door. And that's my why. That's my motivation. What's yours? Yeah.
If you're not going to post me on social media, I got to make my mark.
Well, looks like we got a B-roll.
Goodbye, Dada. Have fun.
Bye, baby boy. I love you.